Okay, so here we are for yoga. We're going to focus on some low back and some hips. And I'm going to start with a reading. So here's the reading for this class. Each day is another opportunity for you to live your life a little less afraid, to choose yourself, to listen to your own heart and not what the world says. Don't let your struggles and difficult days plant fear in your heart, my friend. Don't let your misfortunes tell you that you do not deserve anything else. Remember, if you dare to believe in yourself, new doors will open. If you choose to carry on, the chances will come again. One day at a time, you just have to hang in there through it all and trust that when the right time comes, life will unfold itself in the best way. So I like just, that reading, just thinking, yes, one day at a time, keep going. Doesn't matter what's happened in the past. Keep thinking positive, pick yourself up, dust yourself off. We've all had to do that. And I just like reminders that tell us to do that. So we're going to get started down on our backs, knees bent or legs stretched out. And once you get down on your back, just see how the body's feeling. Would you like knees bent? Would you like legs stretched out? And just adjust your shoulders, adjust your upper back. Once you're down on the floor, just make a few little movements to kind of settle the body down from whatever was going on in your day before you started to practice yoga. Just kind of move, adjust the body. So when we first get down on the floor, on our mat, on this hard surface, we don't have to stay completely still. And now we'll start to focus on our breath. So just before you change the breath at all, just notice how you're breathing. How deep, how shallow is the breath? How fast or slow is the breath? Where are you feeling the breath? And then we'll start to improve on the breath. We'll start to take some slower inhales and slower exhales. We'll start to feel the belly rise with our inhale and fall with the exhale. We'll feel the rib cage expand with the breath. And if possible, your arms are at your side, your palms are up, just to let the chest open up a little bit. Let the front of the shoulders open up a little bit. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. Let your eyes be relaxed. Let your jaw be relaxed. We're going to work the neck a little bit. So let's inhale. As you exhale, let your head fall to the right. Just any amount. We're not trying to force it to the right, just any amount to the right. And then slide your right arm down by your side just a little bit more to make room for your head to move a little further over to the right, maybe. And just feel that left side of the neck, that left shoulder. We're just going to hold here and breathe and just let gravity kind of work our neck and shoulder muscles. Now tuck your chin down towards your right shoulder just a bit and hold there with that little tuck. Still working on our big breaths. Nice and slow, let's bring the head back to center. Adjust both shoulders. And then exhale, we'll let the head fall over to the left, any amount. We're not pushing it or forcing it. And then slide your left arm down a little bit more down by your side. And it might make a little bit more room for your head to move to the left. We can feel that stretch a little bit more now on our right side of our neck, right shoulder. Work on your belly breathing. Just let gravity do our work here. Let's inhale our head to center. Readjust your arms and shoulders. If your legs are stretched out, let's bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor. Once your feet are on the mat, we're going to rock the hips side to side. So a little rocking motion, side to side. Feel that in the hips, on the waistline. We get a little massage for our low back. Notice if it feels a little tighter when you go one direction or the other. Let's bring our knees to center, and we're going to do the head and the knees in opposite directions. So we'll let the knees fall to the right, and then just turn your head to the left. And then bring head and knees to center. Let the knees fall to the left, and let your head roll to the right. So nice and slow with your breath. We exhale as the knees and head go to opposite side. Inhale when knees and head come to center. Exhale when knees and head go to opposite sides. So just nice and slow with our breath. So doing a very gentle twist here. And working all the way from the cervical spine in the neck, all the way to down the lumbar spine. Now, next time your knees are to the right and the head is to the left, just hold there for a few breaths. Breathe into that left hip, left waistline, left rib cage. We'll inhale and bring the knees and head to center. Exhale, let your knees fall to the left and the head fall to the right. And we'll just kind of hold here and breathe. Feel a little bit of a stretch on that right side, maybe the right thigh, hip, waistline, rib cage. Just work on your belly breathing. Let's inhale the knees and head to center. On your next exhale, let's hug both knees into the chest. So we'll hug the knees and we're going to roll side to side. Nice slow rolling side to side, going as far over or as little over as you like. Now here you can let your head go the same direction as your knees. You'll get a little massage on the scalp, or you can let your head be centered. So we want to let the shoulders roll side to side as well as our hips. So that whole back body getting some movement. We'll bring the knees to center. We'll stretch both feet up to the ceiling. Feet are hip width apart, feet flexed. Let's spread the toes, clench the toes, spread the toes, clench the toes. We're just working our feet a little bit. Relax the toes. We'll take a yoga walk. One knee is going to bend, the opposite foot will stretch up towards the ceiling. So you want to push up through the heel. Get a nice extension on the back of each leg before you switch to the other side. So we push up through the heel, but also through the ball of the foot. Trying to get good length on the back of the legs, the hamstrings, the calf muscle. Bring both knees back into the chest. We'll hug the knees. Have both hands on both knees. We're going to take both knees in a clockwise circle. So nice, slow, clockwise, circular massage for our low back. And as you're going around, you can see if there's any places that are a little bit tight or tender. You just notice we make that connection, like, oh, right there is a little spot. Sometimes during the day, we're just so busy, doing things, or we don't take time to listen to the body where things are going on. Let's now take the knees both in a counterclockwise direction. So both knees now going counterclockwise. So yeah, here when we're in yoga, we can take a little bit of time to assess the body and see what's going on. Let's bring our knees to center. Use your core. Don't let your waistline lift off the mat. We're going to bring the feet down to the floor. They can come down one at a time. Once your feet are down on the mat, just adjust your hips and shoulders. And we'll stretch our right foot up to the ceiling. And we're going to circle our right ankle in one direction. So it's a slow circle. Don't go too fast. Go nice and slow, as if you're kind of drawing a circle on the ceiling with the toes of your right foot. And you can let the toes wiggle around a little bit. So working the joints in the foot, the metatarsals in the foot. There's something like 26 joints in the foot. Let's go count in the opposite direction. And we're working that ankle. And we're also letting that lymph fluid come down from the feet and ankles, calves, all the way down to the groin area. Let's point and flex our right foot. So a nice stretch for the whole back of the right leg, especially the calf muscle. Let's keep our right foot flexed. Exhale, bring the right knee into your chest. We're going to hug that knee. Tuck the chin a little bit, and then relax the neck and shoulders. And then we're going to stretch the left leg out on the mat. Now, if that doesn't feel good to your low back, your left knee can stay bent and the left foot on the floor. But if you stretch the left leg out, flex that foot. So both feet are flexed. We're compressing the right side of the belly, taking some big breaths here. If you want to work your core and you've got that left leg stretched out, you can lift the left leg about an inch above the mat, but don't let the waistline lift. So we want to keep the waistline pressing down towards the floor, that the belly button pulling down towards the mat as we take the big breaths. Let's come out of it. We'll rebend our left leg, bring our left foot to the floor, bring our right foot to the floor, and just rock your hips side to side a few times. Let's bring the knees to center. We'll stretch our left foot up to the ceiling, and let's circle the left ankle. So nice and slow, kind of like as if we're drawing a circle on the ceiling with the toes of the left foot. Let the toes wiggle around or move a little bit. So our toes help us to balance, right? So we need that flexibility and mobility in the toes. Let's circle in the opposite direction. They need to be able to wiggle and move, and sometimes they can get really stiff. So keeping the feet and ankles flexible helps with our balance. Point and flex the left foot. Good stretch for the whole back of the leg. Let's keep the left foot flexed. Inhale, and with your exhale, bring the left knee into the chest. We're going to hug the knee, tuck the chin a little bit, but then relax the neck and the shoulders. Either keeping our right knee bent, right foot on the floor, or if your back feels okay for it, stretch your right leg out, and then we'll have that right foot flexed. If you want to work your core, just engage, pull your belly button down. Don't let the waistline lift, but you'll lift that right leg about an inch above the mat. Taking some nice big breaths. And we'll come out of it. Let's bend the right leg, bring the right foot to the floor, bring the left foot to the floor. With both feet on the mat, we'll rock the hips side to side. Let's work our hips a little. So bring your knees to center, and we're going to take figure 4 pose. So we're going to take the right ankle, bring it to the left thigh. Right foot is flexed, and we'll just gently move the right thigh or right knee away from us. So trying to feel a stretch on the front or side of the right hip. And let's rock a little side to side. So I like to combine this figure 4 with a little rocking motion. I think it just feels really good on the hips and the low back, just getting that little bit of movement. Let's bring the knees to center. Keep your right ankle where it is. On your next exhale, we're going to bring both knees in towards the chest. So you can hold each leg with each hand, or wrap the hands around the back of the left thigh and use your right elbow to press the right thigh away. You want to have both feet flexed, so we're protecting our knees since the knees are bent. And now you should be feeling that stretch on the outer right hip and thigh and glute area. Now let's try here, rocking a little side to side. So it's a tiny rocking motion, not too big. Just to focus on really that low back and outer right hip. Bring the knees to center. We'll come out of it and bring the left foot down to the floor and then the right foot down to the floor. Good. Just adjust the hips and shoulders, and we'll do the other side. So left ankle comes to the right thigh, left foot is flexed. Take your left hand and gently push the left knee or left thigh away. You can also let that left knee just move away on its own resistance. You might get a better, deeper stretch there than using your hands. So you can try it both ways. But you should feel that stretch probably on the front or side of the left hip. And we'll just rock a little side to side. So a little small rocking motion. Good. Bring the knees to center. Keep your left ankle there. And then on your next exhale, bring both knees into the chest. You can hold each leg with each hand and use the left hand to press the left thigh away, or wrap the hands around the back of the right thigh and use the left elbow to press the left thigh away. Both feet are flexed. Now that stretch has probably moved to that outer left hip, thigh, glute. Stay with those big breaths. So that, especially when you're feeling a pose, really big breaths are just going to bring oxygen to the muscles, oxygen to the blood, oxygen to the brain. Let's rock a little side to side. So just a small rocking motion. And so when we breathe nice and deep, it helps us to relax into the pose and find the comfort in the pose. When we hold our breath, all the muscles do is tighten up. Let's bring our knees to center. We'll come out of it and bring our right foot down to the mat, our left foot down to the mat. One at a time now, stretch the legs out. So let your legs relax. Arms are at your side, palms are up. Front of the hips open, back of the knees open. And now we've got blood flow moving down the legs all the way down to the feet. Let's wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Take a full body stretch. We're going to stretch both arms up overhead. Palms face the sky, spread the fingers, flex your feet, and then stretch one side longer, then the other side longer. You want to stretch the whole side. So as you reach with the right fingertips, you're pushing the right foot away. When you reach with the left fingertips, you're pushing the left foot away. So your hips and shoulders are going to shift on the mat. Your arms and legs are going to shift on the mat. Your head will probably roll a little side to side on the mat. And make sure you get a good stretch on each side before you switch to the other side. Don't rush through it. Bring your arms and legs to center. Arms come down by your side. Good. Let's rebend our knees. Bring our feet to the mat. We're going to keep our knees bent. We're going to go into a pelvic tilt. So knees are bent, knees stacked over our heels. Feet are hip width apart. We're going to inhale, lift your waistline off the mat. Exhale, press your waistline down into the mat. So the only thing lifting off the mat is the waistline. We're not lifting the hips. We're just kind of tilting or rocking hips and pelvis forward and back. Inhale, our waistline lifts, tailbone presses into the mat. Exhale, waistline presses down, tailbone curls up a little bit. So really good for low back, loosening up all the muscles, ligaments, and tendons. Works your hip flexors, works your core. So you're working your core a little bit here in a very safe way. Now we're going to prepare to go into bridge pose. So the next time your waistline is pressing down, keep it pressing down. And we're going to lead with our hips and lift up the spine nice and slow. You don't want your waistline to lift up before the bottom lifts up. So you try to go one vertebra at a time. Once the hips are lifted, maybe walk the shoulder blades together just a tad, just a little bit to kind of stretch and expand the chest. Feel the weight even on both feet. Knees are parallel. So notice if the knees widen out. In fact, let's move the knees out. You might feel your arches lift a little, and then bring the knees in a little bit. So just do that a little bit. Knees wide and then knees narrow. So working our thighs, working our glutes. And now we're going to stay with just knees parallel. So not wide and not narrow. And now soften your belly. Belly soft. Press the shoulders down into the mat. Your glutes are firm. We're going to lower with breath. Take a nice inhale. With your exhale, move the shoulder blades apart and then lengthen the spine as you lower down. Don't let your bottom touch down before the waist touches down. Once your hips are down, hug the knees into the chest and let's roll side to side. Roll it out. We're just kind of ironing out that low back. Good. Let's bring the knees to center. Use your core. Don't let your waistline lift. We're going to bring our feet down to the mat. Let's roll over onto our left side. We're going to work the hips a little bit. So you can get a pillow or rest your head on a yoga block. I'm just going to rest my head on my arm, but we'll lay on our left side. And we're going to stack our knees. We're going to do clamshell. So knees and hips are stacked, feet are stacked. Our head, hips, and heels in a straight line. So we don't want the knees and feet too far forward. You can just have the right hand on the floor in front of you. You want to make sure the hips stay stacked and you don't roll backwards. So inhale, lift the right knee only as much as you can keep the hips stacked, and exhale, lower the knee. So your feet stay together. So we inhale, lift the knee, clamshell, exhale, lower the knee. So just a few of these nice and slow with your breath. You could even have your right hand on your top hip, that right hip, to make sure you're not rolling back. So it's not about how high you lift the knee. It's about keeping the hips stacked, right? And using the leg, the thigh muscles, and using all the muscles that support the hip. Now, next time your knees are together, keep them together, and we're going to lift just the right foot up towards the ceiling, and then lower the right foot. So knees stay glued together, and just the right foot lifts, and the right foot lowers. You're still keeping those hips stacked. So you can feel it's just a little different rotation. You can feel a little different in the thighs. Next time your right foot's down, leave it down. And now go ahead and bring that right hand back in front of you on the floor, just for a little balance. Straighten your right leg out so the right foot goes towards the bottom of the mat. It just kind of hovers there. Let's point the toes. So flex your foot and point the toes up towards the ceiling. And we're going to lift that right foot up. So the toes lead the way up, and then turn the ankle and let the toes lead the way down. So when you go up, the toes turn up. When you go down, the toes turn down, like the toes are diving up, and then the toes are diving down. So it's that rotation in the hip, in the thigh. Good. Now, next time the leg goes down, keep the toes pointing down and the heels pointing up. And we're going to switch it now. So the heel leads the way up, and then the heel leads the way down, right? Heel leads the way up. So a little different rotation from the toes leading the way. But you feel that we're working the ankle too, right? I'm feeling it in my leg. So it's good to strengthen our leg muscles. Next time your leg goes down, then just bend your right knee, and we're going to switch sides. So you can just roll over or switch to the other end of the mat. Just readjust your support under your right side of your head. So whether it's just your arm or if it's a pillow or a yoga block, we're going to stack our knees and hips, head, hips, heels in a straight line. Let's maybe start with our left hand on our left hip, clamshell. So we're going to keep the feet together. Inhale, lift the left knee, and exhale, lower. But imagine that you have a wall behind you and you can't roll backwards. We're just lifting that knee enough so that we don't roll backwards. We inhale and lift the knee and exhale and lower the knee. So these are great for hips and thighs, strengthening the legs, strengthening the joint. Next time your knees are together, keep them together, and then we'll just lift the left foot. So we inhale, lift the left foot, exhale, lower the foot. So a little different rotation. Inhale, we lift the foot. Exhale, we lower the foot. Feel that kind of maybe more in your outer thigh. Next time the left foot's down, then bring that left hand in front of you kind of for balance on the floor in front of you. We're going to stretch that left leg out so it points straight down towards the bottom of the mat. Turn your toes up towards the sky. And then we're going to inhale, lift the left leg, and then turn your ankle. The toes lead the way down. The toes lead the way up. So we've got a rotation in the ankle, but also in the hip. Toes lead the way up. Toes lead the way down. Try to keep that foot pointing straight down towards the bottom of the mat. Sometimes there's a tendency to let it come kind of in front of you, but we want to just keep it pointing kind of straight down, and you're trying to keep your hips stacked pretty much. They're going to rotate a little because that hip's rotating. Good. Now, next time the foot is down, the heel should be pointing up, and we're going to let the heel lead the way. So heel leads the way up, and then turn, and heel leads the way down. Heel leads the way up. Heel leads the way down. So you're working your core here too, as well. You're balancing, whether you know it or not, you're balancing on your side. Yes, and I'm definitely feeling it in my hip and legs. Next time the leg goes down, then bend your left knee, and you're going to use your arms and make your way all the way up to sitting, and then come into hands and knees table. So grab some padding, if you like a little padding, extra cushioning for your knees. We're going to have wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Our index fingers are parallel to each other, and the rest of the fingers are kind of spread out. You can always do this on your elbows if your wrists bother you. So just our classic cat-cow. We're going to exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, pull your belly up snug. Inhale, tilt the hips, arch the back, let your belly stretch. Exhale, round up, shoulder blades spread apart, tucking the chin. Inhale, arching, shoulder blades squeeze together. Your chest will lower towards the floor a little. Keep your neck long. So nice, slow movement. Exhale when we round. Inhale when we arch. And just as you're making this movement, notice, where do I feel this? Is anything noticeable? Maybe everything feels fine. So just, note that. Oh, everything's feeling okay with this pose. But if there's something where you're like, oh, there's just a little something there, then you kind of be careful with any areas that stand out to you through the rest of the practice. Bring everything to neutral, shift back into child's pose, big toes barely touching, knees separate apart a little bit. Let your forehead rest on stacked hands on the yoga mat or on a yoga block. Take a few nice big breaths into the whole back body, and then also feel that breath in the belly. Let's take a child's pose side stretch. So stretch your hands as far forward as they'll go. Your elbows are going to be up off the mat. Pick up your head, look at your hands. walk the hands over to the right off the mat. And then tuck your head, but keep your forehead off the mat. You're just tucking your head. Your ears are right by your arms. As we reach to the right, we're going to lean into the left. So the whole left side, we're going to lean into the left shoulder, left rib cage, and left hip. Tuck the left hip down towards your left heel, just slightly, and big breaths. So reaching right, leaning left. And then we're going to lift our head, look at our hands, walk your hands back to the center of the mat. Continue walking them all the way over to the left off the mat. Tuck your chin, forehead's off the mat, but the ears are right by the arms. We're going to lean right. Lean into your right shoulder, your right rib cage, your right hip. And we'll just slightly tuck that right hip down towards our right heel. Main thing is big breaths. Good. Let's come out of it. Lift your head, look at your hands, walk your hands back to the mat. Let's keep the elbows, so their hands are centered. Keep your elbows up off the mat, but come up into hands and knees. We're going to prepare for downward dog. So you can walk your knees a little closer together. Your hands should be at least as wide as your shoulders and forward from your shoulders, fingers spread. Curl your toes under. Inhale with your exhale. Lift up, shift back, downward dog. We're going to tuck the chin. Spread your toes out on the mat, and let's walk it out a little bit. So one knee bends, and then the other knee bends. So just kind of walking that out. Pull your belly in and up to support your spine. Keep your neck long. Try not to look forward towards your hands. Try to look directly back towards your toes or your knees or even your navel. You probably won't see your navel, but that's the tuck of the chin, right? So just keeping that neck long. Bring your heels level with each other. We'll come down to knees. Shift back into child's pose. A few wrist circles or wiggle the fingers. Maybe even sway hips and shoulders a little side to side. Good. Let's come up to hands and knees. We're going to lower all the way down to our belly. We're going to work our shoulders and upper back a little bit. So lower down to your belly. We're going to reach our hands forward and the thumbs are up. And the hands are kind of in a V position, so about as wide as your mat. Your forehead's on the mat, so kind of resting your forehead. Now make a little fist, so just your thumbs are pointing up towards the sky and your rest of your fingers are kind of curled in. Firm up your legs, firm up your low body, and we're going to inhale, lift both arms. So thumbs up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, lower the arms. Let's do that 4 more times. Inhale, lift both arms up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, lower. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, lift the arms. Bring them back to the mat. And 1 more. Lift the arms. Bring them back down to the mat. Now bend your elbows. Stack your hands on top of each other. And rest your forehead on stacked hands. Let's curl our toes under and push the heels away from us so that your knees lift up off the mat. So just a good stretch for our legs, for our arches. Good. Then relax the legs and the feet. We're going to go into a gentle cobra pose. Let's bring the arms down by your side. Palms are up. We're going to keep our forehead down on the mat for a moment. Firm up your legs, firm up your bottom. Let's lift the arms up off the mat and squeeze the shoulder blades together. On your next inhale, lift your head and chest. So really squeeze those shoulder blades together and reach the hands back. Breathing, the neck is long. Don't lift your chin too high. Get length in your neck. Breathe into the low belly. Keep the bottom firm, legs firm. We're going to come out. Exhale, lower down. Bend your elbows, stack your hands. Rest your forehead on stacked hands. Here we're going to bend the knees and let the toes just kind of point up towards the ceiling. And then we'll windshield wiper the feet. So both feet go to the right, both feet go to the left. So just a little windshield wiper with those lower legs. Your thigh muscles The quadricep muscle is getting a little bit of massage, but kind of working on that low back and hips. Both feet to the right, both feet to the left. Good. Let's bring the knees to center. We're going to lower the feet down. Curl the toes under, adjust your knees. Now we'll come back up to hands and knees. So slide the hands under the shoulders. Lift yourself up into hands and knees table. Once we're in table pose, let's take a little free form movement. So you can round and arch, maybe start with that. And then maybe shifting, swaying hips or shoulders side to side. Maybe shifting your weight forward and back. Just any kind of free form movement. So just keeping everything loose. Working the spine, working the shoulders, maybe some small movements with the neck. Bring everything to center. We're gonna take one downward dog, and then we're gonna take that downward dog into a standing forward fold. So if you wanna get into a forward fold a different way, meet us there. From table, walk your hands a handprint forward so that the wrists are forward from the shoulders. Fingers spread. Curl the toes under. Inhale. With your exhale, lift up, shift back, downward dog. Put a little bend in your knees. Look at your hands. And then little by little, start to walk your hands back towards your feet. You're gonna let your heels come all the way down and then widen the stance of the feet. So feet a little wider than the hips. If you had padding there under the knees, see if you can scoot it off to the side. Bring your hands up to above the knees. Lift your chest halfway up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Pull your belly in. Keep that bend in the knees, and with a flat back, hinge from the hips all the way up to standing. Good. Once you're up to standing, adjust your clothing. We'll take a few side swings. Separate your feet wider than your hips, and we're just going to swing side to side. Pull the belly in and up a little bit. Let that opposite heel lift. So we want the hips to turn, and we want the arms floppy. Maybe there's even a little bend in the elbows, and the arms kind of wrap around you. Good. Bring that to center, and we're going to do, I think it was last Wednesday, we kind of did that side swing thing, but we reached to the side. So interlace your fingers loosely, and you're going to reach to the right, and your left heel is going to lift, right? And then come back to center, and then reach to the left, and your right heel lifts. So that's the movement. So instead of having our arms floppy, we're just kind of switching side to side. So it's a really good all over body stretch, right? Working all the way through shoulders and hips, arms and legs. So when you reach to the left, that right heel lifts. When you reach to the right, the left heel lifts. Good, and let's bring everything to center and shake it out. Good. We're gonna take a wide leg stance on the mat. So let's come into warrior two. So wide leg stance on our mat. We're gonna turn our right toes to the right, left heel shifts back. Feet are about 3 to 3.5 feet apart, and we line up right heel, left arch. We're not gonna turn towards our right foot. We're gonna stay facing this long edge of the mat. Bend your right knee. Right knee stacks over the right heel, shoulders stack right over the hips. Inhale the arms to shoulder level. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Good. Pull the belly in and up, turn and look over the right fingertips. So your back foot, your left foot, press the outside edge of that left foot down into the mat and try to lift your left arch up a little bit. That left leg should be really long and strong. Try to have no bend in the left knee. The right knee is kind of opening out to the right edge of the mat, so that right hip opens. We're going to exhale and lower the arms down. Straighten your right knee, parallel your feet. Let's take it the other way. Left toes turn to the left. Right heel shifts back. Line up left heel, right arch. Don't turn the hips to the left. We want to keep them facing that long edge of the mat. We're now going to bend our left knee. Left knee stacks over left heel and kind of opens out towards that left edge a little bit. Shoulders right over the hips. We're going to inhale, arms to shoulder level. Exhale, relax the shoulders, long neck, pull the belly in and up, turn and look over left fingertips. Now feel that right foot, kind of press a little bit, just tiny bit on the outside of that right foot to try to lift your right arch, and try not to have any bend in that right knee. So that right leg really long and strong. The energy and the weight is even on both feet. So try to get the weight and the energy and the feel equal in both legs, both feet. We'll come out of it. Let's exhale, lower the arms, straighten the left knee, parallel the feet. We'll step the feet together and just shake it out. Take a little shake. Good. We're gonna go, we'll do a balance pose. So let's do tree pose. So let's have hands on the hips, feet are hip width apart. We're gonna start with putting all the weight in our left foot. Lift your right heel. Slide your right foot over until your right heel touches the left leg. So you can stay right there with those right toes down. If you want to go a little bit deeper into it, you can pick up the right foot and put it on the inner left calf. So wherever that foot is, it could be on the inner left thigh. Wherever that foot is, try to open your right knee out to the right. Instead of the knee coming forward, try to open it out to the right. And then see where your hands want to be. Maybe they stay on the hips. Maybe your palms come together in front of the heart. Maybe they're out in a T position. You can have cactus arms or a nice wide V. Think of your arms as the tree branches. The standing leg has just a micro bend, very tiny bend. If you fall out of it, just nice and slow, set back up. Good. Let's lower the arms, bring the right foot down and shake it out a little bit. So that standing leg gets a lot of work. You're strengthening that hip joint as well and the leg muscles. So just shake that out a little bit. And we'll come back, feet hip width apart, knees and toes pointing straight ahead. Let's start with hands on our hips. We're going to shift our weight into the right foot, lift your left heel, slide the left heel over till it touches the right leg. So we can keep it with the toes down, perfectly fine, but you want to open that left knee out to the left, or you can bring that left foot to the right calf or the right thigh. We just don't want it pressing right on the knee joint, but we're trying to open up that left knee, and then wherever your arms want to be, maybe try a different pose for your arms, or different position, I should say, for the arms. Focus on a spot that's not moving, or something that you can just focus on. That will help a little bit with balance. Sometimes when we have allergies or sinus stuff, that can affect our balance. Windy days can affect our balance. Just little things like that. Let's come out of it, bring the arms down, bring that left foot down, and we'll kind of shake it out. And then we'll go into a few side swings. So separate the feet wider than the hips. This time you just keep the arms floppy, let the opposite heel lift, belly pulls in and up a little bit. So let your arms feel real heavy, let them really hang. And let that slow down, bring the feet back to hip width apart. Let's work our shoulders just a little bit. Weights even on both feet. Bring your fingertips to your tops of your shoulders, and then we're going to circle our elbows. So circle nice and slow, as if you have a marker or a crayon on the tip of the elbow, and you're drawing these separate circles as big as they can. So you can really feel it in the shoulders, but also in the chest, in the upper back. Keep your belly pulling in and up a little bit, kind of hug in those low ribs, right? To keep that belly pulling in and up. Next time your elbows are pointing down, then reverse our circles. And you might feel that you feel just a little difference in the shoulders when you reverse. Whenever I reverse, it feels a little harder to me, or a little not as smooth. I probably go to my easiest way first. Next time your elbows point down, let's leave them down, bring the arms down by our side. Let's have our palms facing forward. And we're just doing a few shoulder rotations. Palms face back, palms forward. palms back. So just a little shoulder rotation. Lift the heart, pull the belly in, pull in those low ribs a little bit. Next time your palms are forward, lift them to a T position. The palms face the sky and then palms face the earth. So just that little rotation. Palms up, palms down. Good. Next time the palms are down, leave them down and then lower your arms. Take a few shoulder rolls up and back and down. So pull them up as far as they'll go, squeeze them back as far as they'll go, and then pull them down as far as they'll go. So really kind of slow here, working isometrically. We're working the upper back muscles. And then we'll alternate one back and the other back, little backstroke. Good, shake it out. We're gonna come down onto the mat. We're gonna work our hips a little bit more. And what we're gonna do with the hips also kind of helps the low back, the SI joint. So let's come down to sitting with our knees bent, feet in front of us. And we'll just take a couple seated cat breaths. So hands on the knees, we're gonna inhale and sit tall, lift the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then we're gonna exhale, lean back. The arms go straight, tuck the chin, round the whole spine, pull your belly button in. Then inhale, sit tall, squeeze the shoulder blades together, your arms bend, right? Exhale, lean back, arms go straight. So just this little movement of sitting tall and then rounding back. When we sit tall, we let the belly stretch. When we round back, we compress the belly, we pull it in. Good. Next time you're sitting tall, stay tall, bring the hands down beside you, one at a time, stretch the legs out, and windshield wiper the feet. Just kind of shake out the legs. So this next one is a great one for, like I said, our hips and our SI joint. There's a famous yoga teacher called Mukunda Stiles, and this was his little thing. So I'm going to face this way so you can see me. We're going to bring both our feet over to the left. So my right, the bottom of my right foot is kind of touching my left thigh, and my left foot is just back kind of by my left hip. My right hand, you're going to bring your right hand by your right side, press into the floor. And then your left thumb, you're going to put it into the crease of the left hip. So it's your fingers are down by your kind of on the back side, and your left thumb is in your crease of your hip. And we're going to lean into that right hand. You want your left hip to lift up off the floor. So we're leaning into that right hand. And then we're going to exhale, and we're going to try to bring that left hip down. And you're going to kind of use that thumb to kind of push your left hip down a little bit. So that's the movement. Inhale and lean to your right. Let that left hip lift. And then exhale, come back to center and use that left hand and that left thumb to kind of push the left hip down. So be careful with the knees. If you feel any pulling on the knees, maybe just don't go as far. But it's just this kind of moving side to side, to the right, and then kind of back to center. And using that left hand, that left thumb, to activate and work that left hip. So inhale when you lean to the right, exhale when you sit tall. Good. Next time you're sitting tall, let's switch. So we're going to bring the feet in front of you. And now both feet are going to go to the right. So the bottom of my left foot is by my right thigh, and my right foot is kind of tucked behind me by my right butt cheek. Left hand on the floor, left palm on the floor. Your right thumb, you're going to put it in that crease of your right hip. And then now we're going to lean to the left, and your right hip is going to lift completely off the floor. And then we're going to press, come back to center, and use that right hand to kind of press that right hip down. So we inhale, lean left, and exhale, sit straight, and kind of use that weight of that right hand to press that hip down. So just nice and slow movement. Be mindful of your knees or the hips or the low back. This is a really therapeutic move for the hips and the SI joint. SI joint is that low back where the pelvis on each side meets the last 5 vertebrae, the sacrum. There's an SI joint on each side. So one more leaning into the left hand, and then one more sitting upright, and then we'll come out of it. We're going to bring both those feet in front of us. We're gonna come down for all the way down onto our back. So let's come down and work our core on the way down. So you're sitting here, have your hands on your outer thighs, and I want you to try to roll down as slowly as you can. Try to go one vertebra at a time. Use that core and try to go all the way down. Once your back is down, let's hug knees into the chest and roll side to side. So roll it out a little bit. Shoulders, mid back, upper back, low back, everything kind of rolling side to side. Good. We're going to bring our knees to center. Use your core, bring the feet down to the mat. We're going to end with a spinal twist. So stretch your left leg out on the mat. Left foot is flexed. Hug the right knee in. Right foot is flexed. We're going to have the left hand on the right knee, right arm at your side. Right palm is up. Inhale with your exhale. Let's take that right knee over to our left. So we're kind of rolling onto the left hip. We can shift our upper body to the left to help our right shoulder stay down on the mat. Your right palm is up. Now you can keep your head centered, or you can look over either shoulder. See what kind of feels good to your neck. The main thing, I'm not worried about where your neck is, where your head is. The main thing is the big belly breaths. So this is all about, the spine and the internal organs and the digestion and elimination. So it's those big belly breaths that really help this pose, give it its potency, its effect. Just keep relaxing your right shoulder down. If the right shoulder lifted off the mat, we want that right shoulder down on the mat. So just bring your right knee a little higher if that right shoulder continues to lift. Good, nice and slow. Let's bring that right knee up, right foot to the floor, and then bend your left knee. So both knees are bent. Adjust hips and shoulders, get even on the mat. Stretch the right leg out on the mat, right foot flexed, bring the left knee in, left foot flexed. Right hand on the left knee, left arm at your side, left palm is up. Inhale with your exhale, we're going to take that left knee over to the right. We can move our shoulders, our upper body to the right a little bit to get that left shoulder back down on the mat. Get your head comfortable, looking straight up or over either shoulder. And focus on your belly breathing. Nice, slow, even inhales and exhales. If that left shoulder keeps lifting, just bring your left knee a tad higher, right? It's fine. We want to keep those shoulders down on the ground. We're twisting kind of from the waist down, and we're working all those internal organs: liver, spleen, kidney, pancreas, intestines. What did I miss? Liver, spleen, kidneys, pancreas, gallbladder, all that stuff that fits in there. I don't know how it all fits in there. We're going to come out of it. Let's bring that left knee up, left foot to the floor, and then rebend your right knee. Adjust hips and shoulders. Hug the knees into the chest, hands on the knees, and we're going to circle both knees in a clockwise circle. So just a little circular pressure point massage before we go into final relaxation. Circle in the opposite direction. Yeah, bring the knees to center. Use your core to bring the feet down to the mat. Don't let the waistline lift. Now you're going to set up for final relaxation. So see if you want legs stretched out, knees bent, maybe a blanket roll or bolster under the knees. You can have reclined cobbler's pose, bottoms of the feet together, knees open. Just get your lower body comfortable, get your upper body comfortable. As always, if possible, we want the arms at our side palms are up. They can even be out in a T position to open the chest and shoulders a little bit more. See what feels good for you. A little tuck of the chin to lengthen our neck. And then relax the neck, the jaw, shoulders. Try to relax every muscle in the body. start to tune in to your breath. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. So slow, even breaths. Keep relaxing and re-relaxing the body. And I'll give you my reading again. Each day is another opportunity for you to live your life a little less afraid, to choose yourself, to listen to your own heart and not what the world says. Don't let your struggles and difficult days plant fear in your heart, my friend. Don't let your misfortunes tell you that you do not deserve anything else. Remember, if you dare to believe in yourself, new doors will open. If you choose to carry on, the chances will come again. One day at a time, you just have to hang in there through it all and trust that when the right time comes, life will unfold itself in the best way. Take a nice inhale and a nice exhale. Bring some small movements to the body, fingers, toes, arms, legs, hips, shoulders, spine. Maybe a stretch, maybe a little twist, maybe knees into the chest. See what would feel good coming out of your final relaxation. When you're ready, roll to one side and use your strong arms to come up nice and slow all the way up to sitting. Once you're up to sitting, let's sit tall, maybe on a yoga block or a cushion. We're going to move the hips slightly back, lift the heart a little bit, pull the belly in and up. So we want our head over our shoulders, shoulders over our hips. Got a nice little healthy curve in the low back. Feel the breath in the low belly. Let's end our class with 3 seated sun breaths. We'll bring the fingertips down on the floor beside us. We'll inhale the hands up overhead. Exhale, arms out to your side. We'll do 2 more of those. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, arms out to your side. This time, inhale, hands up, and let the palms touch overhead. And then exhale, we'll bring the thumbs to the heart. And this ends our class. Namaste. I'm going to stop the recording. You can take yourself off mute. Oops. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm trying to stop it down there and I got to stop it up here.